Welcome to Throw Off the Lines, the podcast where we navigate life's changes, explore new horizons, and embrace the journey. I'm your host, Stephanie York, an executive coach with a passion for charting new courses on the water and in life. Ready for some total change? Let's dive in. Hi there, and welcome to my episode on hope. It's a foundational feeling for me. And I've been talking to a lot of my clients lately and friends and family. And I feel like you can have bad days and you can have bad things happen to you, but that if you are completely lacking hope, you can't be grateful about your life. It's really a struggle to get through every day. And hope is something that I've learned in my life that I can build up. So even when I have tough times and bad things happen to me, I can feel hopeful that things will change. And, people can lose hope due to a lot of different factors. But one of the things that I talk to my clients about is, if you're really sad, you can't just turn around and be happy. If you're really angry, you can't turn around right away and have gratitude. You have to process these feelings. So if you're sad and if things are happening that are causing you to not have hope, you sometimes have to go through them. So I just want to talk about some of the things that can really, impact your ability to have hope. And there seems to be a short list of them. Personal challenges, repeated failures, all those things. We're going to go over the list of the 5 areas in your life that can impact that. But, you want to know, why are you feeling a loss of hope? And if you're feeling really hopeless, sitting and trying to analyze where it's coming from is a very useful exercise. Trying to figure out why you're hopeless is an action to move towards resolving feeling hopeless and finding solutions that can help you feel hopeful. So just by us looking at hope today, and if you're feeling hopeless, then hopefully we can, hope, maybe we can find one of the areas that it's impacting you and give you some tips. I have 8 ways to start working on building hope back in your life. Most of us understand we feel hopeless, and sometimes it's a constant. And the media and the news and stories and AI algorithms, all that noise cause a huge loss of hope right now. And I know when I talk to people that often don't want to talk about sad things, I have people who refuse to discuss complex topics because they don't want to be brought down. We can't just ignore this stuff. We can't just put it in a corner and it goes away. When people are truly hopeless or are feeling continued hopelessness or a lack of hope, it's something that we can actively work on. So I talk to my clients often about diagnosing it and looking for the causes and, what's happening, because so often my clients are finding themselves in a rut, in a situation of loss, or they've lost joy, and the constant chasing of escape. That is a whole nother podcast, but if you find that you wake up in the morning and you feel like, oh, I shouldn't have had that bottle of wine last night, or if you find that you are watching a sporting event of some kind and you've gambled money on it, or you want to lose weight because it's impacting your health and you ate a lot of sugar yesterday. I mean, there's a lot of ways that people find themselves kind of hopeless. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that can be causing a loss of hope and motivation. So my journey has always been about finding my purpose again and feeling happy again and joy each day, fulfilled. That's what the podcast is for. Not about more money, more things, more any of that. And when we are chasing things outside of ourselves to try to find hope and joy and to access those feelings, we are undermining our real ability to find hope and joy inside of ourselves. So really, this work can only be done when you do it yourself, and it can be uncomfortable, but doing uncomfortable things in order to change is brave. And I have a whole episode on change. I have a whole episode on resilience and adaptability, stress, anxiety. I mean, there's a ton of podcasts in here that can address all the different things that you have to do to become resilient, to become adaptable, to start to thrive. Just go ahead and check out some of the other podcasts. But I want to jump in really quick and cover the 5 areas in your life that can impact your ability to have and find hope. So while you're sitting in this feeling and trying to figure out, get a pen and paper, trying to figure out, why do I feel hopeless? A lot of us know already. Maybe I'm drinking too much to make myself happy, and I am waking up in the morning and regretting it, or I feel like I kicked the can down the road because I'm in escapism, and I need to stop this roller coaster, and I feel like I can't. That's some tough areas. So personal challenges and setbacks. Let's sit here and think about, do any of these apply to you? Because if they do, then we know the source, and that's what's important. So, getting repeated failures or disappointments. You go up for this, job. You're trying to win in something in sales. You're constantly battling the same things at work. That can be a setback, and that can be a challenge that feels like I tried my best and I can't seem to do anything. It's difficult to believe in a positive future. I talk to a lot of people when I'm out and about. I'm meeting a lot more people for dinners, people I didn't know before. And overall, probably, I would say 100% people are sick of the dating apps. And I say, will you go back on there? Or how are you going to find somebody to go out with? You obviously want a relationship. And they just say, I just give up. I'm not going to try to find anybody. I'm not going to go on dating apps. I'm not going to do it. They've been so disappointed, and there's been so many failures on the dating apps that they feel really discouraged. And it's just a never-ending train of it not working out. So they are now hopeless about dating. And that's sad. And, the overwhelming difficulties facing situations that are insurmountable, like, I can tell you, I've been in a place where I had no food, no shelter, no money, no options, and that feels insurmountable. But I had experienced it before, and I got to tell you, it feels so heavy, but I know for a fact that we find our way through. It's not always the way we want to find our way through, but when I'm in that situation, do I feel like I can't go get a job, or do I feel like I can't find a place to stay? No, I feel like there's going to be a way for me to try to find something. If I end up in my car, I will try to find something to get me a job, to move forward. I've built resilience into me, and I think it's just because of the way I grew up. But I know that's overwhelming difficulties can be exhausting. And then there's a lack of progress. You are working really hard at something, and you're frustrated, and you're not making any progress, and that can lead to giving up, which makes the end goal of hope feel even further away. And I understand all those, and they're very personal. And that's one area that absolutely could be impacting your hope. Internal factors like self-doubt and negative thinking. I have a whole podcast on self-talk. And if you grew up people telling you weren't worth anything, if you grew up not thinking that you were capable, if you are mired in an addiction of some kind of substance or a behavior, and you are just in that self-doubt, I'm never going to break this habit, my family's really negative, that will absolutely undermine any ability for you to see hope. If you have really low self-esteem, if you have burnout, you're feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, that can also lead to us unable to cope with life's challenges and feeling hopeless. And then some external factors, 3. So we had personal factors, internal factors, external factors like loss and isolation. Maybe you had someone very close to you die, and that's really hard. Or you lost a job, or you had a significant change in your life, or you became ill. I know that people, when you get cancer, frequently people scatter, and then you're isolated, and that isolation can make you feel a loss for your past life. Other things is you're maybe a victim. Maybe you've had something broken into, you've had something stolen from you, you've had people subject you to mistreatment, and you felt powerless. That's another external thing that can make you hopeless. Focusing on other people's lives and their accomplishments can lead to you feeling inadequate. And we get that a lot on social media. So that's part of a distraction and comparison. That's an external thing. So loss, isolation, victimization. Are you distracted, and are you comparing yourself all the time? So those are external factors. Number 4 is mental health. Anxiety and depression lead to hopelessness, 100%. And there's a ton of anxiety in our society. So if you have other mental conditions like bipolar or eating disorders or PTSD, I strongly recommend that you go and find a professional that will help you deal with that. I'm not equipped to help you with it. And if it's that deep-seated, there are systems to go to. If you're really completely without hope, go to your general doctor. You don't have to go to a psychiatrist. You don't have to go somewhere fancy. Go to your regular GP and tell them, I'm down, I'm anxious, I'm not processing grief very well. And they will have the means to help you out. You don't get labeled, doesn't go in your permanent record, but you should reach out to someone who can help you. They're trained to do that. Lastly, and this is the big one that had me down about 4 years ago, lack of a vision or purpose. And this is the one I'm trying to tackle right now. It's why I'm on the podcast. This podcast is my purpose, sharing the things that I've done. So you can have a sense of purpose and you can start to find things that inspire you, though not having a clear goal without a sense of purpose or direction, it can be difficult to maintain hope if you don't know what you want to do in a vision or a purpose. So writing down goals, doing a vision board, having something you want to reach for. I do not care if it's next month, I want to go to the flower show and I want to look at flowers because I'm going to put a garden in. Or it could be, I want to start collecting coins. What's a coin that I like? I like coins with animals on them. Or, something that is a vision of something you want to do. I want to make one new friend this summer. Okay, that's a clear goal. What are we going to do to go do that? And again, change and effort are great podcast episodes. So if you're feeling stuck, when you're in a rut or you're unable to move forward, you may lose hope then too. So if you need vision or purpose, we've got a whole purpose episode as well. So those are kind of the 5 areas that can lead to you feeling hopeless. So go back over them, write down which one you think that you have, and then we can start to tackle that. So here's 8 ways to build hope. Because regaining hope involves focusing on the present, because all you can do is work on what's happening this moment and then build towards a future. And then set small goals. Like I want to be healthier. Okay, today I cannot eat sugar, and today I can eat a salad, and today I can go walking for 20 minutes. Those are all 3 things that are going to lead towards me being healthier. And connect with other people and practice gratitude. It's all crucial to acknowledging and managing negative thoughts. So seek professional help if needed and find activities that bring meaning and joy. If you haven't got activities in your life and you're not interacting with other people, one of those 2 things or both of them are really powerful. So let's dive into the 8 ways to build hope. 1, focus on the present. Grounding techniques. I've talked a lot about this in the past. Use techniques like deep breathing or mindfulness to stay present and reduce anxiety. I'm going to be making more recordings about breathing techniques and things that can help you be mindful. But I've got to tell you, it's just a matter of if you're on this right now, take a deep breath and hold it in and then let it out. If you're driving down the road or if you're sitting at your desk or if you're making dinner, take a couple of deep breaths, get some oxygen in there and hold it and let it back out. By just doing that, you are more grounded in the present and it makes you more mindful. And if you do 10 of those in a row, it can stop worry in its tracks. It can help you gain control and reduce anxiety. Also, number 1, focusing on the present, is shift your perspective. Instead of dwelling on future outcomes and just focus on what's going on right now and what you can control. I used to have a lot of anxiety about what may happen when I was very young. And then I realized very quickly I had no control over what was going to happen. And I think that helped me stay very resilient in a time when, I had no right to be resilient. I was so young, but I overcame so much. And I think that if you can shift your perspective to what can I do right now? Because I can't worry about tomorrow. I can't worry about a week down the road. What can I do right now that can impact my present focus? So number 1 is focus on the present. Number 2, set achievable goals. Break down tasks. So divide larger goals into smaller, manageable steps to build kind of a sense of accomplishment. And this is something I do with my clients all the time. They need more business. They need to make more money. They need to take care of their team. They need to take care of their family. All right, here's our goal. We want to do this year. Okay, great. We want $10 million or whatever it is. And then, we can wish all we want for that. But what do we have to do to build towards that? And so we break things down into Mondays, you're going to do this. Tuesdays, you're going to do this. Wednesdays, you're going to do that. And then they buy into it. They say, yes, I'm going to do that. And then a week later, we talk about it. And what did they get done? What didn't they get done? How did they feel about it? What was the sense of accomplishment? And then you just start to build on it. And go back to my effort podcast. It's amazing. By making the effort to do the small tasks, you're rewarding your internal system and you're feeling more inspired to do more of those tasks next week. It's a momentum thing for sure. And then make sure, number 2 in building hope, set achievable goals. Make sure you're celebrating your small wins. So write down on that piece of paper that you have out, or your mental note, or your phone note. I don't care where you're keeping notes, but write down to celebrate the victories. So, if you're trying to eat healthier, every time you make a salad for dinner instead of eating a pizza, give yourself a point and then look at your week. And then I don't care, Sunday night, make yourself a Sunday, because you could celebrate your win. Or keep a calendar. I love a written calendar. People make fun of me, but I love physically checking off and putting X's on stuff if I've done what I'm supposed to do. But make sure that you're acknowledging, I did that thing. I accomplished that. And honestly, I talk to people in recovery and people who are struggling with addiction to substances. And if you made it an hour out of your addiction, or an hour away from the substance or the gambling or whatever that dopamine hit is, give yourself credit. Every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, blah, 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 blah. All of it counts. So just pat yourself on the back. I was in cheerleading camp because, of course, I was a cheerleader, but not as long as I'd like to have been. And they would say, okay, girls, you did great. Pick your arm up. Your right arm up over your head, bend it at the elbow, and pat yourself on the back. I will never forget that. It was a long time ago. But it works. Just acknowledge your wins, and no matter how small they are. Encouraging yourself and motivating yourself to continue to do it is such an important part of self-esteem, and you're worth all the encouragement in the world. All of it. You deserve it. You deserve good things. So number 3, if you're keeping this list, number 3 in building hope is connect with others. Build a support system. Reach out to friends, family, actual support groups for emotional support and a sense of belonging. And I, again, am meeting strangers kind of at dinners, and I'm talking to them about, what got you to going to these dinners? And they said, well, I just want to make more friends to do stuff with. Okay, great. And then they make connections, and then they never plan anything to do. They're waiting for somebody else to plan it. And I say, hey, do you like to paint ceramics? Do you like to go for hikes? There's meetup groups. There's, if you meet people at these dinners, say, hey, I want to go for a walk at the beach. Do you want to meet at such and such a time? You have to instigate some of it. But I know that when I travel a lot, because I travel internationally, and I felt a very real sense of isolation when I was gone. And I decided I have a lot of friends and family in my life. And when I disappear, a lot of people don't call each other. So I would make a plan to try to call 5 people a week. Friends, family members, extended, partnership business and stuff. And I would try to call and connect with somebody 5 times a week. And it really helped me not feel isolated. So again, number 3 is connecting with others. Part of that also is engaging in social activities. Participate in activities that bring you joy and connection with others. In LA, early on when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody. And I went and joined Tree People. And Tree People was planting trees. They still exist. There's go to the local animal shelter. I have a girlfriend who goes to the cat house at the local animal shelter and helps socialize animals. And she met more people that like animals. And, all these shelters and all these rescue organizations, you could show up at their adoption day and walk an animal around, get them exercise. If you really love animals, there's lots of ways to connect with other people that love animals. But if you have a hobby, there's somebody somewhere who's doing something with that hobby. So look into social activities. Make yourself do a social activity this month, even if you're anxiety ridden. It doesn't have to be a long time. I just say you got to go out and connect. If professionally you're feeling really stuck and hopeless, I have my clients I have to go to this meeting, this networking event, and I don't want to go. I'm really scared and I'm worried. And I say, okay, we're going to go. And you're going to go and make a list of 3 topics that you're ready to talk about with yourself. I actually had somebody who was very anxiety-ridden going to a social event. It was a bridal party, and she didn't know anybody. It was her best friend's bridal party. And I said, okay, what are 3 facts that you can write down about yourself that you're willing to share with people? I had a dog named Pepper when I was little. Or I like to collect coins. I'm stuck on coins today. Or I really love the color purple. Are these facts about yourself that you would be shocked? This is going to come up. An opportunity is going to come up to say at least one, if not all 3 of those. And then when you meet someone, have a series of questions that you're willing to ask them. Oh, well, like, what do you do for a living? Oh, where did you grow up? Oh, what did you like? What do you like about the town that we are in? How did you meet so-and-so? And then naturally occurring conversations. So be prepared when you're anxious about social activities or networking activities or business activities. Pick 3 things you want to say about yourself. And it can be about your background. When people ask you, where did you grow up? What is the story you want to tell? People will always ask, where did you grow up? What compelled you to come here, and what do you do for a living? So have answers for those things, and then ask those same questions of people. If you prepare ahead of time, connecting with others is not as scary and not as hard. And then I would tell my people who would go to these events, all right, you got these 3 questions and these 3 facts. When you talk to somebody, you talk to 3 people. Once you've talked to 3 people, so we're doing things in threes evidently, 3 facts, 3 questions, 3 people, you're allowed to leave. I don't care if you've been there 10 minutes. You are allowed to leave that event. And you went and you conquered and you did it, and then go home and celebrate that victory, celebrate that win, because you need to do that. So try to connect with others. Do it in baby steps. If you don't have a hobby, find one. And then just continue to push yourself out of your comfort zone, because change only happens when we kind of get out of our comfort zone and get uncomfortable. So number 4 for building hope is practicing gratitude, which we talk a lot about. There's gratitude journals out there, but identify positive aspects of your life. Focus on the good things. I tell a lot of my clients, I've mentioned it in other podcasts, have a piece of paper or a journal next to your bed at night. And then write in there 3 good things. This was in my positive psychology class in my master's program. Write down at the end of the day, middle of the day, first thing in the day, 3 things that you were happy to have happened that day. For me, it was like a cup of coffee, the sunshine in through the window, those flowers I could see from my window. But then as you start to write those things down every night, the next day you start to look for 3 things. You have to hold yourself accountable, maybe do it with a friend, but it really can start to build that focus of good things in your life. And then gratitude journaling is really important. I personally get a little stuck with gratitude journaling, but if I open it up and I'm only writing positive things, I'm starting to replace negativity in my life. And it's, I think, really important that if you're noticing you're being really negative, it's really hard to be hopeful. If you think positive people are cheesy, that means you probably need to fix something inside of yourself if you're feeling that negative about the world. I don't know that this podcast is going to do all that for you, but if you're being constantly negative and you're thinking negative thoughts, go to my self-talk episode and start getting some examples of things that you can do to stop some of the negativity. So 4 is practicing gratitude. 5, managing negative thoughts. Challenge those negative thinking. Identify and question negative thought patterns that lead to hopelessness. I love to meditate, and 2 of my favorite negative thought meditation practices. I don't know if this will help you, but meditating can be like a 5-minute exercise where you're sitting and it's people say, I don't know how to meditate. Sure you do. If you've ever prayed, that's a form of meditation. I like to empty out the brain and not think about anything, and my monkey brain is constantly throwing little wrenches into it while I'm trying to be calm and silent. So I practice in my mind that I'm sitting across a little bridge with a brook, a little stream running under it. And while I'm meditating, a thought will come in like, why did you do this? Or why didn't you do that? And I just take that thought and I place it on a leaf and I watch it flow down the stream away from me because I'm sitting across the stream on a little bridge with my legs crossed. And that thought, I'm going to just take it, I'm going to put it on a leaf and I'm going to watch it float away. If it's a more aggressive thought or I'm in a more aggressive mood, I will sometimes take that thought mentally, toss it up in the air, and swing a big, giant baseball bat at it. And I just throw that thought, I hit it way outside of my realm of thinking. And that sometimes makes me really happy. So manage your negative thoughts. Recognize patterns of thinking. I have people set alarms, and the alarm go off every hour. And then they have a piece of paper next to them. And then you think, what did I think negatively about in the last hour? What influences did I allow into my mind? What was I reading and watching? What was I ingesting? Was any of it positive? Was any of it grateful? Or was it all negative? Because sometimes we have negative things going on around us and we're not even aware of it. My brother plays talk radio a lot. He was sleeping to it for a little while. And the talk radio was uplifting and it was a Christian-based broadcast, but it did talk about a lot of really negative things and fear, and a lot of our news and our media is very fearful. So maybe, I don't care, put on children's broadcasts. I've really been enjoying recently watching cartoons and children's movies. Rio 2, Despicable Me 4, and you know what? Those are just fun and they're lighthearted and they're way better than some of this really brutal war, murder, death TV shows and movies. I just can't take in too much more of that. So number 5 is managing your negative thoughts. Challenge negative thinking, reframe your thoughts. 6, seek professional help. I cannot hit on this enough. When I was helping my father prior to his passing, I was at his house, and again, I've mentioned this before. I might do a podcast about it. I'm taking care of an elderly parent or somebody who needs help. And by the time I got through everything I went through in that experience, I came out the other side with suicidal ideation and severe depression, and I couldn't shake it, and I couldn't move past it, and I would tell you that was hopeless. And normally I could shake things like that, and I went to a doctor. And he immediately put me on 3 medications. One of them was, I can't remember the names of the other 2. One of them made me feel like I was dying, so I went right off that. But I was on Paxil. And I'm not a fan of taking a bunch of pills, but I will tell you, I needed them. I needed help. I went to the doctor. I got the Paxil. It immediately helped me. I started journaling my feelings. I started processing what was real and what wasn't. And I was able to, because this helped manage me, within 3 months, I started weaning off of it. And then I wasn't using it any longer. But it helped me so much when I desperately needed it. And I'll tell you, I try to talk to family members. I try to talk to friends about my feelings of being despondent. And then after I got out of the deep, deep, dark depression, I tried to talk to people about it. Nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody offered support. Nobody wanted to talk to me about my really deep, dark feelings. And again, I think it's just people want to avoid things that are sad, when as a society, just communicating a little bit about this can be really, really helpful. So another part of seeking professional help, number 6, is finding support groups to help you with whatever it is that you're having an experience with. If it's the death of a loved one, a spouse, or something like that, when you're able and willing and wanting to, reach out to a support group to get help with that. If you're trying to overcome a substance or change a behavior that you're really struggling with, there are tons of support groups out there for that. And getting the support of others and connecting with them who've gone through what you're going through is incredibly important to build hope. When you experience someone who's gone through what you're in, and they've done it successfully, and they share with you the steps, you immediately feel relief, connection. You're no longer isolated, and you see that somebody else did it, and you immediately start to spark hope. So don't be stuck. Go reach out, go to a professional, and find support groups. And your loved ones are really great as a sounding board, and your friends. But if it's too much and you're stuck there and you're going back to them too often, it's time that you seek some professional help just for yourself. Now, number 7, find meaningful activities and pursue hobbies. I get clients frequently who hire me because they not only want an accountability partner, but they themselves personally and professionally are all over the place. And their days are scattered, and they're putting in 12-hour work days, and they're not being as effective as they not only need to, but they're not being as effective as they want to. And we'll often, we'll clean up everything, get them on the right track, get their work hours down to a manageable 8 hours a day at the most is what we're trying for. And then I say, well, now that you're more managed and you're being much more successful, spending less time not just staring at the computer doing nothing, they have a lot of free time. And then we start to talk about hobbies. And finding meaningful activities is finding activities that bring you joy, creativity, a sense of purpose. I've had people start painting. I've had people start knitting. I've had people start their own charity. It's figure out, what's your love language? I was just talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and she said, my love language is food. I love to feed people. Well, you know what? There are a lot of places that need help with food. There's elderly people in your community that probably don't have food. There are soup kitchens. If your love language is maybe doing hobbies, you could go in and volunteer at your kid's school if you have time. There's a lot of hobbies out there that figure out what you love to do, figure out what brings you joy, and then work on finding a hobby. And if you can't find something, start your own meetup group. There's nothing stopping you from it. Another thing about finding meaningful activities is engaging in learning. And this one's a big one for me. So take courses. There's so many free courses out there. There's free courses on leadership. There's free courses on everything. AI. There's understanding Google. There's write your own book. There's start a podcast, which I just did. And, go explore new topics. Go study the ancient Incas. What's happening in winemaking today. Go look up Florence, Italy. What are the changes that are happening in Florence? It doesn't matter. Go and explore new topics and broaden your horizon and stimulate your mind. When you have engaged your brain and you're not just chasing escapism, you're not just getting drunk or smoking pot, and you're not just playing silly games on your phone, when you're looking up something that's new information for you, your brain is active, and I'm 100% sure it will add hopefulness. So now number 8 is build resilience. And again, I have a whole episode on resilience. It's episode number 10, living a more purpose-driven life. Practice self-compassion. This is huge. I cannot tell you enough. I'm going to put Dr. Neff in my show notes. Sorry. Dr. Neff, and I can't remember her first name off the top of my head. She's on YouTube. She has her own page, her own website. Dr. Neff talks about self-compassion, and a lot of people who are struggling with being kind to themselves and understanding themselves better and forgiving themselves. And if you're struggling to give yourself room to feel hopeless, and if you don't feel like you're worth stopping the behaviors that are making you feel hopeless, or you're not worth these other things, the very, very beginning of that is finding self-compassion. I learned when I was feeling really hopeless that I didn't think I was worthy of being not helping people. I thought I always had to help people. I have to clean people's stuff. I have to get people things. And I learned that I need to create boundaries around myself, that I'm worth love. I'm worth as much love as the person I'm trying to help. I'm worth more. I have to love myself before I can be of service to others. So self-compassion is a slightly complicated topic, but if you watch the videos, and this is the thing about wanting to change, so often we'll listen to music or we'll play our video games on our phone or whatever it is, and we don't take the time to plug good stuff into us as frequently as we let our attention spans be hijacked. We plug ourselves into Netflix, or we plug ourselves into other things. Well, you know what? Turn on Dr. Neff's Self-Compassion and play it while you're cooking dinner, because you might not get all the concepts. It starts to absorb into your subconscious, and you start to absorb that self-compassion. You start to care about yourself. Other things like self-care. Prioritize physical and emotional well-being through activities. Exercise, healthy eating, adequate sleep. I've got a lot of my clients are on sleep hygiene right now. We try not to have any digital devices in the bedroom. We have an actual alarm clock that will go off that's not a phone. We don't plug our phone in next to us. Now, there's people who feel like they have to have family members access to them. Whatever your reasoning is to keep your phone near you, I get it. But self-care is figuring out how to take better care of yourself. So are you washing your face in the morning and at night? Are you brushing your teeth? Are you making your bed? I just was visiting somebody who didn't even make their bed. Didn't have sheets on it at all. And I said, this is a sign of severe depression. And we talked about it, and they had medication. They were seeing a therapist. And then we made the bed. And I said, if you do just this one thing for yourself, because you're worth it, it's going to help build on your feelings about the rest of your life. So prioritize your physical and emotional well-being. Protect yourself from people who hurt you. Start to work on your self-compassion and your self-image, and definitely go listen to my episode on self-talk. So when you start to work on these 8 things that we just talked about, and I'll go over them real quick. It was focus on the present, be mindful, ground yourself, and shift your perspective away from future or past events to the moment. Then set achievable goals. Break your big tasks down into things that you can do right now, and celebrate your small victories. Then number 3 is connect with others, build a support system, engage in social activities, get a little uncomfortable, but prepare for that, and then give yourself an out. Okay, I'm trying to quit drinking, but I had to go to this social event and everybody's drinking there. Well, go immediately get a non-alcoholic drink in your hand, and then give yourself 15 minutes. If you're still uncomfortable or tempted, then leave. You don't owe anybody an explanation at all. If you stay comfortable but later on get uncomfortable, leave. If you get flat out bored, leave. You do not have to stay at a social setting, but you will have gone. And when you get home, congratulate yourself on the win. So now number 4, practice gratitude. Start that positive psychology work with the 3 good things that you write into a little journal every day. Challenge your negative thinking. Practicing a gratitude journaling. Get a journal out and only write good things in it. And feel grateful about the opportunities that you do have. And it's hard when you're being challenged, but maybe it'll get easier if you keep practicing. Manage negative thoughts is number 5. Challenge your negative thinking. You don't have to be meditating in order to say, oh, here comes that negative thought again. Just get out that mental baseball bat and whack that sucker out, way out far away. And every time it comes back, I have a good laugh when really negative stuff comes back into my focus, because I know I've dealt with it, but boy, this comes back in. That person doesn't like you, or you did this wrong. You know what? I'm going to pick that sucker up, throw it in the air, and whack it with my mental baseball bat. That's more active. If you're just sitting still, think of the little river running past you and just take that negative thought, put it on a leaf and watch it float down the river and say bye-bye. Number 6 is seek professional help. Go to your regular doctor. There are so many avenues of getting help. You are worth it. You deserve to have a better life and to feel better. So go to support groups, get help from professionals, seek it out. Number 7 is find meaningful activities, get hobbies, figure out what brings you joy, read books about it, take courses on it. Number 8, build resilience, practice self-compassion, focus on self-care. If you have mani-pedi stuff, give yourself a pedicure. If you have lotion, put lotion all over yourself. Make yourself that cup of tea. Sit quietly. Make a cozy nook somewhere in your apartment or your house where you can sit and read. All these things are really going to help you, and you're worth it. You're worth every single effort that you put into this life. And I hope that in some way this has helped you be more hopeful. And hope is something that once you can learn to build that, you've got the foundation to build everything else. And you deserve to be resilient and adaptable and thriving. And this life we've got going on right now is very challenging. A lot of stuff's coming at us. So my hope is that you have hope today. And take care and live your best total life. Thank you for joining me on Throw Off the Lines. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe for future episodes and extras, and leave a review, share it with someone who needs a total inspiration. You can also find us on Facebook or Instagram and our Throw Off the Lines website. If you want to be a guest or have questions for the host, sign up on the website and we'll get back to you. Until next time, throw off those lines and live your best life.